In this movie, I'll show you an unconventional approach to correcting color cast that involves a color adjustment known as photo filter. Now, the real purpose of photo filter is to simulate those old-style lens filters that used to be more popular back in the days of film photography. Now that we've gone digital, those filters have been largely supplanted by post-processing. So, photo filter is intended as a kind of special effect, but you can also use it as a correction tool, and here's how. The first thing I'm going to do is turn off that balance layer that I created in the previous movie. And then I'll go ahead and grab my eyedropper tool once again, which you can get by pressing the I key. And I'll click in this little thing down here. Notice this area that looks like it ought to be neutral. Let's go ahead and click there inside of it. And notice that I get a hue value of 84 degrees up here in the color panel and a saturation value of 11%. All right, now what you want to do is just go ahead and write those values down, 84 and 11, and then go ahead and create your photo filter adjustment layer. And you can do that either by dropping down to the black and white circle at the bottom of the layers panel and then choosing photo filter. Or if you want to name the layer as you create it, go ahead and bring up your adjustments panel and then press the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac and click on the fourth icon in the second row, which is photo filter. And because you have the Alt or Option key down, that'll bring up the new layer dialog box. And I'll go ahead and call this layer Balance 2, and then I'll click OK. All right, now notice that by default, Photo Filter wants to warm up the image, which is not what we want to do at all. We want to get rid of some of that warmth. And by warmth, I mean generally a reddish to yellowish color cast, as opposed to coolness. Notice if I go ahead and choose a cooling filter right here, I'm going to get a bluish color cast. But what I really want is a custom color. So I'll go ahead and select the color option there, and I'll click on that color swatch to bring up the color picker dialog box. And now notice my HSB values here. Once again, hue, saturation, and brightness. You want to crank the brightness value up to 100%. And then you want to set that hue value based on the hue that you're seeing inside the color panel. You either want to add 180 degrees or you want to subtract 180 degrees. 84, our current value, is less than 180 degrees, so we'd go ahead and add 180 to it. And if you can do that in your head, great. If not, just use a calculator on your cell phone. And in my case, I'm coming up with a new value of 264 degrees. Now, if your starter value there is more than 180 degrees, then you would subtract 180 from it. All right, now notice that I have this intensely saturated purple. I don't want that. I want to match the saturation value in the color panel, which is 11%. So I'll just go ahead and set it to 11% and then click OK. And now you want to go ahead and crank up that density value to, let's say, about 75% to start with. And then I'll go ahead and click once again inside this pale area and see what I come up with. And notice that the hue value now reads 290 degrees. That doesn't really matter so much as the saturation value, which has come down to 2%, which of course is a very good thing. Now, because we're making the image a little bit purple, it's possible that the density value is too high. So I'll just go ahead and try 70%, and I'll click in that area again. And notice now I'm getting the saturation value down to 1%, which is a very good thing. All right, so here's the image as it looks without that modification. Here's the way it looks with the modification. It's a pretty subtle difference, which is why I suggest you bring back that color balance layer. So I'll go ahead and click its eyeball to bring it back, and I'll click on that layer to make it active. If you're not seeing the properties panel, just go ahead and double click on that thumbnail there. And then just go ahead and wipe out the midtones values. Just take them all down to 0 and leave those shadows values as well as the highlights values that we applied in the previous movie alone. So just leave them intact. And we'll end up with this effect right here. So this is how the image looks without either of those layers. It obviously has a yellow cast, as you can see. And this is how it looks with those two layers. And just for the sake of comparison here, I'll go up to the File menu and choose the Revert command. And that way we can see the image as it appeared at the end of the previous movie. So this is that correction that I applied exclusively using a color balance adjustment layer. And this is the correction I have now, which is a combination of photo filter working on the midtones with color balance working on the shadows and highlights. And frankly, I think it's an improvement. And so that's how you correct the color cast of an image, albeit in a very unconventional but effective way, using a photo filter adjustment layer here inside Photoshop.